Okay guys, so today we'll be doing market equilibrium. So let's just get into it one time. So market equilibrium exists when the opposing market forces of demand and supply achieve a balance. The balance of these two forces generates a price and a quantity that are mutually agreeable to both sides. Market equilibrium is indicated by market price and equilibrium quantity. The figure below shows the equilibrium price of $8 and the equilibrium quantity of 30,000 pizzas per month for the pizza markets. Market disequilibrium results if the market is not in equilibrium. For example, if the demand price is not equal to the supply price and the quantity demanded is not equal to the quantity supplied, then there is market disequilibrium. There are two types of market disequilibrium. We have surpluses and shortages. Surplus, that is, there's excess supply. Surpluses or excess supply, which occurs when the price in the market is such that quantity supplied by producers exceeds quantity demanded by consumers. And the graph shows it right here. There is excess supply. At price 12, that is. Excess supply will cause the price to fall. The market moves downwards along the demand curve, increasing the quantity demanded, and downward along the supply curve, decreasing the quantity supplied. Shortages or excess demand, which occurs where price in the market is such that quantity demanded by consumers is greater than the quantity supplied by producers. And at price of $6, there's excess demand, simply because producers are willing to supply less at the market and consumers are willing to buy more goods at a lower price. Excess demand causes the price to rise. The market moves upward along the demand curve, decreasing the quantity demanded, and upward along the supply curve, increasing the quantity supplied, as shown by the arrows. And here is an exercise. We have the price of gasoline, then we have the quantity demanded of gasoline and the quantity supplied. And you guys could pause the video and see if you all could do it on your own, just as practice. Changes in the equilibrium price and quantity. Equilibrium is a combination of price and quantity at which the intentions of consumers and suppliers exactly match. Once a market reaches equilibrium, that price and quantity will prevail until one of the determinants of demand or supply changes. A change in any one of these determinants usually changes equilibrium price and quantity in a predictable way. The possibilities are an increase in demand, a decrease in demand, or an increase in supply or a decrease in supply. Increase in demand. A change in demand is a change in the amount of a good demanded resulting from a change in something other than the price of the good. An increase in demand is represented graphically by a shift of the demand curve to the right. That is initial demand or original demand, and that's a new demand, a rightward shift. At the initial or original price of $8, the shift of the demand curve causes excess quantity demanded. So a quantity demanded of 48,000 pizzas, and the quantity supplied is equal to 30,000 pizzas, and there's excess demand of 18,000 pizzas here, guys. Equilibrium is restored at point N with a higher equilibrium price and a larger equilibrium quantity. That is where the equilibrium is restored, from a higher price and a higher quantity. And this is an exercise for you guys to do if you want to. You could pause the video and try to do it on your own just to have the information stick in your brain so you all could remember when exam is coming up. After completing the exercise, examine to see if it complies with the summary below. So, changing demand and supply. Remember, guys, an increase in demand will cause an increase in price and an increase in quantity. A decrease in demand will cause a decrease in price and a decrease in quantity. An increase in supply will cause a decrease in price and an increase in the quantity, while a decrease in the supply will cause an increase in price and a decrease in quantity. Simultaneous shifts in both curves. As long as only one curve shifts, we can say for sure how equilibrium price and quantity will change. If both curves shifts, however, the outcome is less obvious. Examine the three diagrams that follow. Demand and supply increase shift rightward in all instances. Note that in figure 8, supply shifts more than demand. In figure B, demand shifts more than supply. And in figure C, the shift in the supply curve is equal to the shift in the demand curve. In all three diagrams, equilibrium quantity increases. The change in equilibrium price, however, depends on which curve shifts more. So we have here figure A, an increase in demand and supply, where increase in supply is greater because it has a larger shift than the demand curve. In this instance here, the demand shifts to the right further, so demand is greater than the shift in supply. And we have here for figure C an increase in demand and supply, where increases are equal because the shifts the shift in the supply curve is the same as the shift in the demand curve. And here is an exercise for you guys again to do. I wouldn't be doing it, but you guys will be doing it. So the exercise says use the demand and supply graphs to determine the market effects of these changes. You all could pause the video and do this 6 exercise. And here's also another one for you guys to do or just to look at. And then moving on to consumer surplus. The demand curve can be reviewed as a willingness to pay curve. So you could view the demand curve as a willingness to pay curve. It shows the value that consumers place on extra units of the good. Consumer surplus is the difference between the amount that consumers actually pay and the amount they would have been willing to pay. Or you could say consumer surplus is the difference between the prevailing market price or current market price and the price consumers actually pay for the product that is consumer surplus. The graph shows equilibrium in the markets for laptops. The market price is 2,000 and at this price 40,000 computers are sold. Note that most consumers who got the product were ready to pay more than the market price. Consumer surplus can be shown as the area C on the demand curve and above the prevailing current market price. So consumer surplus is located on the demand curve but above the prevailing current market price right here. And then we have calculating consumer surplus. We can calculate the consumer surplus as it equals the area of the corresponding triangle. So the area is equal to a half times base times the height. Try to calculate the consumer surplus using the information on the graph. Notes total benefits is equal to C plus H plus G. Total cost is equal to H plus G. Consumer surplus is equal to total benefit minus total cost. Producer surplus, on the other hand, the supply curve shows the minimum price at which producers will be willing to supply a given level of outputs. Producer surplus is the difference between the lowest price a firm will have been willing to accept to supply the given level of output and the price it actually receives. Does that make sense? Yes, that makes sense because producer surplus is like the benefit you as a firm receive from selling your good in the market at that price, that is, at that price. And on a graph, producer surplus can be shown as the area above the supply curve. It's above the supply curve and below the prevailing or current market price. Area it's shown as area H. Calculating producer surplus. As with consumer surplus, we can calculate the producer surplus as the corresponding area of the triangle, half times the base times the height. Try to calculate the producer surplus for our example. Quantitative demand and supply analysis. The equilibrium price for a good is that price per unit of that good that allows the market to clear. For example, the price for which the quantity demanded exactly equals the quantity supplied. The determination of equilibrium quantity and price, known as equilibrium analysis, can be achieved in three different ways. We have by examining the supply and demand schedules for equilibrium price and quantity, by combining the demand and supply curves in a single graph and determining the equilibrium price and quantity graphically, or by simultaneously solving the algebraic equation for demand and supply. The algebraic approach to equilibrium. The algebraic approach to equilibrium analysis is to solve simultaneously the algebraic equation for demand and supply. In the example below, the linear equation for demand and supply are given. Example 1. Suppose we know the linear equation for the supply and demand curve. Demand is P, which is price, is equal to 32 minus 4Q, right? And the supply is P is equal to 2 plus 2Q. Solving for equilibrium algebraically by setting P is equal to P or Q is equal to Q will give us a quantity of 5 units. Substituting this expression Q is equal to 5 into either the demand equation or supply equation, one can solve for the equilibrium price using the demand function or using the supply function. Anyone will give it supposed to give it the same thing as P being equal to $12. Drawing graphs using demand and supply functions. From the demand equation, you can determine the intercept value where the quantity demanded is 0, as well as the slope of the demand curve. In the example above, the intercept value is 32 and the slope of the demand curve is -4. In order to satisfy the law of demand, the slope of the demand equation should be negative, so that there is an inverse relationship between the price and quantity demanded. The supply function above has an intercept of value 2 and a slope of 2. Note that the function depicts a positive slope, reinforcing the direct relationship between the price and quantity supplied. And here is an exercise for you guys to do. The demand and supply curves for tickets to a Celine Dion concert are given as follows. And you guys again could pause the video and put your answers in the comment section, and I will see if you all have the right answer. Here's another one again. And that's it for me today. See you all next time. And good luck in your exams.